So today we're going to talk about different types of numbers. First we're going to talk about natural numbers. And these are going to be your counting numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. An easy way that you can remember this is think about how you learned how to count when you were a kid. When you started counting, you said 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So whenever you first counted as a kid, that came naturally. So your counting numbers are your natural numbers. Next comes whole numbers. Whole numbers are going to be all of the natural counting numbers plus the number 0. So it starts 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. An easy way you can remember this is there is an O in the word whole, and that looks like a 0. Next we have the integers. These are going to include all of the whole numbers plus their negatives. So we still have 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, but then we have the negatives before that. So we have -1, -2, -3, and so on. A trick so that you can remember that the integers include negative numbers, the word negative has 2 of the letter E, and so does the word integer. As you can see right here. Next we have rational numbers. A rational number can be written as the ratio of two integers, a over b, where b cannot equal 0. That just means that a rational number is anything that can be written as a fraction. And whenever you have a fraction, your denominator cannot equal 0. Now, if you look at our examples, you see -4.5. This is a rational number because -4.5 is the same thing as -4 1/2, and if you turn that into an improper fraction, it's -9/2. 1 1/3 is the same thing as 4/3. If you have a repeating decimal, like you have here, that is going to be the same thing as 1 over 11. The number 8, that's the same thing as 8 over 1. As long as it's something that can be represented as a fraction, then that means it's a rational number. So rational numbers are going to include all of the natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. It has all of those within it. Rational numbers are also going to include any terminating decimals, like we saw before on the previous page, any repeating decimals, which we also saw on the previous page, and then the square roots of perfect squares. For example, the square root of 25, because that would come out to 5, which is the same thing as 5 over 1. It can still be represented as a fraction, so it's rational. Now, when we think of these numbers, we need to think of them as sets and subsets. So a set is a group with common attributes. A subset is a set that is composed entirely of members of some other set. So rational numbers would be a set. The subsets of that would be the natural numbers, the whole numbers, and the integers. And if that sounds confusing, just think of it this way. Animals, that would be a set. So the subsets of animals would be things like birds and reptiles and mammals. If we're talking about birds, the subsets of birds would be like ostriches, penguins, ravens, any other type of bird. Now, on the left page of your notebook, you need to copy this Venn diagram. You're going to label it rational numbers, whole numbers, integers, and natural numbers. And then you need to put the following numbers in the correct place. And as soon as you've done that, you are finished.